Hello and welcome to Powwow Nation Live. This is the show from PowWows.com where we help you experience, explore, and connect with Native American culture. I'm Paul Gowder, and thank you so much for being here. Tonight, we have Cree musician Adrian Sutherland, who's going to come and talk about his inspiration, his career, and tell you about some of the meaning behind his songs. But first, I do have a few announcements. One, sorry I'm not here live with you. This is pre-recorded because I am on a trip where it started we flew out to Oklahoma for the Choctaw Days and the Choctaw Powwow. We left from there, headed up to Seattle to visit 8th Generation, one of their blankets right here, I'll tell you more about in a minute, and do some other things in Seattle. So you are getting this on the next to last day of our trip. We are still up in Seattle. We'll be flying home in a couple of days, and I'll be back with you next week live. So thanks for being here. So having said that, the reason we're doing this, it is Native American Heritage Month, and as we do every year, we've kicked off our Explore Native Challenge. This is an online challenge where I'm going to give you every day little tasks, little things to read to really explore more about Native culture. Regardless of who you are, maybe you grew up knowing all about your culture. Well, I'm going to challenge you to learn a little bit more about some other parts of Native culture. Or maybe you didn't know anything about Native culture at all and you're looking to just learn a little bit more. I'm going to challenge you too and give you some resources to really learn a little bit. Support our Native artists, support Native companies, and let's really elevate everything. So I'm recording, and we have a guest. This is our cat here. She's going to join me apparently. So excuse her. So our Explore Native Challenge, you can enter to win every day. We're giving away 5 8th Generation blankets, thanks to our friends. This blanket here is one that they've done, and it was recently featured on the cover of Vogue magazine with Leonardo DiCaprio and Lily Gladstone from the new movie Killers of the Flower Moon. And so you can win this blanket. Enter every day at PowWows.com/win for your chance, and look for bonus codes. I'm hiding them all over the places in our lives, like this one at the end of the episode, in our podcast, on the website, in the emails, all over the place. You can find bonus codes. Look for those. Okay, other announcements. Our trip is also part of our new ExploreNative.travel. And let me take there. ExploreNative.travel is a landing page on PowWows.com that will help you find out more about travel destinations. We've got tours and restaurants and powwows, of course, museums, all kinds of destinations that you can add next time you're planning a road trip. Check out ExploreNative.travel to find out how you can add a little bit of Native culture, Native history to your next road trip. So check that out. And that's part of what we're doing here, is helping you see a little bit more about what you can do when you're traveling. Other announcement. Let's see. We've got lots of live streams happening this month. We just did the Choctaw Powwow. We've got one coming up this weekend. We'll be live from Agency Village, South Dakota with the annual Veterans Day Powwow, November 10th, 11th, and 12th. We're also streaming Porch Creek Powwow live, as well as live down in Fort McDowell, Arizona. Lots going on. Make sure you stay tuned to our newsletter and our social media to find out more. All those live streams will be on Facebook and YouTube. But tonight we are going to feature an interview with Adrian Sutherland. He is a Native musician who I think you're going to really enjoy talking with. Born and raised in Canada's far north, Adrian Sutherland is a roots rocker with heart. His melding of rock roots, and folk and blues has drawn inspiration from his life, the land, and his Cree culture, with songs that ripple far beyond stages. Precious Diamonds, Adrian's second solo album, was produced in Nashville by Colin Linden and mastered in New Jersey by Greg Calby. Adrian and Colin first worked together in 2021 and cut off from the rest of the world during the pandemic. Adrian constructed a recording studio inside a shipping container to record his debut solo album remotely. When the Magic Hits earned nominations at the 2022 Juno Awards and the 2023 Canadian Folk Music Awards, while the title track Magic Hits won Best Music Video from San Francisco's 47th Annual Indian Film Festival. In addition to a musician, Adrian is a respected cultural leader and traditional knowledge keeper who is fluent in his Cree language. He's writing a book for Penguin Random House Canada about being born and raised as a Cree. He cares deeply about many causes and his firsthand perspective on issues like contaminated water, food insecurity, and mental health. So please welcome Adrian to the show. Thanks so much
Hello.
for being thanks so much for being here. If you would introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Adrian Sutherland, and I'm from Ottawa, Ontario, located on the west coast of James Bay in Canada's far north.
Yeah, that's way up there, right? How's the weather right now?
Today, actually, the weather's nice. We've had some really nice fall days. It's been an unusually mild fall, so hopefully it can hold out a little longer because we're enjoying the weather.
Mild. I mean, for us today, when I left the house this morning, it was 51 degrees, and that's really cold for us. So, Fahrenheit, anyways. So I'm imagining your mile fall is a little bit different for ours.
Yeah.
Any snow yet?
No, we've had a little some snowflakes coming down here and there, but we don't have anything that's has stayed on the ground yet. So, but we're
Wow.
expecting snow next week. We'll see.
Wow. That's still crazy for us Southerners down here. We see snow like once every 8 years. So, it's a little different. Well, I listen to some of your music and your songs are really, they're really unique. And I love not just the storytelling, but the one that you have in Cree. So I want to get to that. But first, you can tell me kind of, how did you get started in music? Is this something that has always been your career path, or how did you find music?
Well, it wasn't always a career path for me. I think as early as when I was probably around 7, 8 years old, music was introduced to me through the television. I remember, seeing a music video for the very first time, and I was just blown away. I remember it very clearly. It came on. It was Brian Adams' "Run to You" music video, and I just remember I was just in complete awe of the music, the video, and it was something I found very, very interesting. And I think that really sparked something in me at such a young age. And it was always something I wanted to do. I wanted to play guitar. I wanted to make those sounds. And so I started, fooling around with the guitar. My mom always had a guitar around, and there was an old guitar that I had gotten, which only had three strings on it, and we had I play that thing, all the time, and I would try to make my own little guitar sounds, and even just singing whatever came to mind. I would always try to do stuff. So and then as I got older, I got into a lot of different things, and I got into hip hop, heavy metal, like country, and into my early adulthood, I was starting to write music, original stuff, probably in my early 20s. And then for years, I had a family, and for years, I just kind of put it on the back burner. I put it on the shelf, and I always kind of came back to it. It really called to me for a long time. And as the kids got older, I thought, maybe I would, I thought I should go back and kind of see if there's anything there. And I did that in 2011. I went back to music and recorded an album and been doing it professionally ever since.
That's great. Uh, and coming up, I don't know that was there a lot of other native artists that you were able to look up to, or who were you looking to for inspiration?
Well, yeah, my earliest inspiration was going to be my mom because she played guitar really well, and she learned to play the guitar in the residential school because they had access to instruments.
Hmm.
And later on, she would she owned a motorcycle, and so she would putt around with that thing with the that old acoustic guitar strapped to her back. So that was my very earliest inspirations. And of course, like my mom, all her brothers and my uncles, and they all played. They were all rock and roll guys, and they did cover songs, some original. So it was naturally sort of falling into it because I was growing up around it. And I remember the little place where they would jam and rehearse for their shows. I would go and I would just be outside listening, most of the evening or night to the music, and I was really interested in it. I was probably the only kid I recall like that would go and hang around and just listen to these guys jam, and yeah, those are my early inspirations. As far as like other artists, like I don't think I knew of very many people that were like me, First Nation, that
Right.
were doing music out there, in the sort of the professional arena. There were a few that kind of inspired me, like Cashton, who was uh, a all Innu Cree um, folk duo that was very popular in the late 80s and all through the 90s. So they were probably the only ones that I could probably draw inspiration from in terms of people who were like me.
Yeah. So tell me more about this the song you've now put out that's in Cree. Kind of how did you get the inspiration for that, and I'm also curious to know like how has the reception for that been?
Yeah, first the inspiration came from, I mean, I lost my father at a young age, so that was very difficult for me to experience, and I've been living with that my whole life, the loss of my father. So it's always been something I think about every day, and I wanted to write a song for people like me that have lost their fathers, and I know a lot of people in my life right now. Excuse me. A lot of people in my life right now, at our age, are beginning to lose their fathers, and I think their 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 grief is different than mine. I can't imagine what people go through, having spent their entire lives knowing their fathers or their parents, and then they suddenly are gone from this earth. And for me, it was a different experience, but I think I just felt like it was important for me to do that, and that's where that song came from, and it was inspired by grief and the loss of fathers. So and I decided to do it in Cree because I wanted to start writing in my language. I'm fluent speaker, and I've never really done anything in my language, believe it or not. I mean, it's been actually really difficult, I find, to write in my language because everything sounds differently.
Hmm.
Everything is so different when I sing it. The sounds and the syllables are a lot more difficult to like enunciate and to make them into melodies. I find it a lot more challenging than using the English language. So it was actually pretty challenging, but I managed to get it done. That one, and I have another one that's coming out later on in the new year as well.
And how have how have your fans reacted to that? Not
Right.
be, yeah.
Yeah, and we did like a very soft kind of release, like, and it wasn't, we weren't trying to make a big splash with this song, so it was unbelievable. I mean, I think it's done 10 times better than any other song I've ever put out. Like, we basically just kind of quietly put it out. Of course, we put a little bit of resources behind it too,
Hmm.
but most of it's been organic. A lot of the response we've been getting and on social media and from different places, I still get people coming by every day and here where I live and saying I really like that song and thank you for writing that. This morning, I had a young woman come up to me and who actually lost their father a couple of years ago, who's just down the street from me. They came and said, thank you for writing that song. It I really love it, and they took a picture with me in the morning, and it's kind of weird, but there's just so many wonderful comments coming in like that, and people that I think are just proud that an artist um, out there who is trying to make it in this business, who's trying to make their mark and is putting out music that they can connect with, they can relate to, and it's in their language. um, Cree is like one of the biggest tribes, and there's Cree like right all across Canada,
Right.
uh, and there's Cree even in the states. I know in some of the rock, Montana. So I mean, so the language for me, it was important for me to use that so I can reach all those people right across this country. And I tried to use the language in a way that was more generic, so that all dialects could understand it. And so I used it in a way so that I could reach everyone, that understood, whether it was Ojibwe or Cree. So all those languages, Algonquin, they're all similar, and I was able to do that, and I'm really proud of that, and I'm glad I chose to put out a song in my language.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I listened to it. It's a beautiful song. I really like that. That was it was really kind of interesting. Now you've been making music professionally for a while now, and so you kind of you've gone through the tradition or transition from. I'm sure at one point you were selling CDs to help support yourself, but now with streaming, I'm curious to know, and I want to talk to more artists about this because I've seen this come up on social media too. Is nowadays, how is it if fans out there are watching your videos or hearing your songs, what is the best way to support artists now? Is it to go and make a Spotify playlist, or is there better ways to support artists?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it's, we I mean, anything helps really. I'm going to start with that.
Right.
If you're creating Spotify's playlisting and stuff like that, that definitely helps, getting the exposure, getting the music out there and reaching more audiences. So that for sure does help an artist. Purchasing merch from an artist or purchasing their music, still there's still physical, CD sales or vinyl. Those things are
Hmm.
still important when it comes to artists and their repertoire, of things that they need to have in place in order for them to do what they, keep doing what they do. Um, and of course, I think community radio as well. Like I put my music out to a lot of non-commercial radio because commercial radio is really difficult to break into. So I work in the sort of lower levels of the terrestrial radio and all that stuff, right?
Right.
And I think it's important because a lot of we reach a lot of people that way as well, and the music gets to presented to people through their local community radio stations all over the states. I mean, all over the even Canada and Europe as well. We try to work those sort of so if you hear the songs coming in, like, you can actually call into your radio stations and request these songs. If I'm not mistaken, you can also call your commercial radio stations and request, songs from your favorite artists that may have not been, considered commercial worthy or
Right.
uh,
Right.
it's a tough industry as it is, and it's very myself alone. I'm up against 30,000 other artists in Canada, all competing for that one spot on a radio, a popular radio spot. So it's anything really helps, anything, honestly.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how the revenue model has changed with Spotify and Apple Music and others. And I don't and we're seeing it now with Netflix and actors and writers. I think we're probably going to see the same thing with musicians too. I don't think that revenue model is completely flushed out. I've hear especially like
Yeah.
powwow drum groups are talking about it and how um, it's just not the same way that it was 5 years ago.
No,
So
definitely, definitely not. I mean, I don't make any money off streaming. I mean, it's nothing really, next to nothing.
right,
Um, you'll be happy to know I've made hundreds of dollars in all the years that I've been
yeah,
pushing my music on streaming platforms. Really, it doesn't. It's unless you're Justin Bieber or you're, you know, um, Miley Cyrus or Bruno Mars. Like,
mm,
I mean, they get millions and millions of streams, and that of course pays off. But it's tough. Like I said, I mean, it's a tough business for sure.
yeah. So you mentioned you have another song coming out in Cree. What else? What's next for you? And if people are interested in hearing you, in person, are there some places that they can catch you here soon?
Yeah, so we'll have another Cree song at some point coming out in the new year. We had just released two singles. We did a double release of two singles. I don't know if that makes sense. We released two singles together at once on the 13th of October. So those are out. You can check them out. Precious and Diamonds are the name of the song. So Precious is really inspired from the music, the black community music that came out of the Mississippi Delta and that whole area, where that's where that song kind of came from, and being oppressed as a people, and singing about that whole experience, and how our land is so precious to us. And it's got some powwow chanting in there as well. It's a really cool song. It's definitely rooted in blues genre, so you could check that out. I would recommend it. It's a very powerful song. I'm proud of that tune. And Diamonds is really playing on the idea of that we all come from the sky, made from the sun. As people, we have our some of our origin story, talk about star people and coming from the sky above. So that song was inspired, lyrically inspired by that sort of idea, that we came from another place from above.
Cool. And any performances coming up that people can catch you at?
You know what? It's a tough time for me right now. There's been a lot of changes in my corner. I think a lot of people are being cleared from my path for all the right reasons. So we've been just starting to basically reset in terms of performing. We're looking at a year and a year and a half right now, trying to secure shows.
Right.
Most venues and festivals are booking now from about a year and a half out. So I don't have anything to give you in terms of shows, um, honestly. And I wish I had more information and more shows that I could definitely share with you. But that's just the reality right now for me. There's definitely going to be shows coming, absolutely. And if you're interested in trying to catch um, any of those shows, you can definitely find that on my website, yeah, www.adriansutherlandmusic.com, and everything you need to know will be right there.
All right. So if you like the music, go follow him. Hit him up on social media. Check out his website. The shows are coming, just not yet. So you'll be able to catch him hopefully soon. Well, thanks so much for spending some time with us and just talking about your music. I really appreciate your time.
Well, thank you. I'm honored to come and chat with you, and great conversation.
Thank you. Appreciate Adrian spending a few minutes with us. So don't forget to go check him out, adriansutherlandmusic.com. And here is your bonus code for this week's contest. PowWows.com/win and enter 613-6485. 613-6485. That'll give you bonus entries into the contest that only people watching this video will get. So good luck. I hope it's you that wins one of these blankets. And look for more stuff coming again. We have more live streams coming this month. And I'll be posting more about the travels we're doing right now. And I'll be back live next week. Thanks so much for being here. I'll see you all soon.